Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhastam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadate Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakammalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining in today. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join or would be watching this online later on. So, Mataji, we are today not reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have a special topic and on Sanatan Goswami. So, I will hand over to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. And again, thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's wonderful. It's wonderful how these classes are carrying on online. So thank you very much. Yes, Sanatan Goswami is a very, very special personality. And so I thought it would be a good opportunity to just base a whole class on him. As I was preparing, this might, if it is okay with you, this might take one more class, because what I will present today is actually there's so much material.
Whoever else could rise to that level that everyone got, we could get.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, yes, Mataji, we can have classes on Sanatan Goswami. That's not a problem.
Thank you so much. So a lot of the material I've gotten is from this book by Radhanath Swami. It's called Vrindavan Yatra with Radhanath Swami. And it's so most of the material I've got is from this book. It's absolutely wonderful. Just really wanted to reiterate that I'm not qualified in the list to be talking about a personality like Sanatan Goswami. However, we have to do this for our own purification. So, like in the material world, we have heroes, celebrities or sports people, Messi and Ronaldo, and so many people we look up to in the material sphere. So when we come to spiritual life, we need to search out, and we need to sought after the spiritual heroes. And our wonderful lineage, our wonderful heritage, we have so many spiritual heroes, the 6 Goswamis, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and each and every one of them had a specific particular flavor. And we need to sort out these personalities who we connect with, who we feel a deeper connection. It is very important. Otherwise, what happens is that even though we're practicing spiritual life, but we're still looking onto the heroes that we looked up to in our material life, you know. Otherwise, we'll still be running after, you know, modern celebrities and all that. So it is very important to kind of like make that switch. And like I said, there are innumerable heroes we have in our sampradaya, in Krishna consciousness. So for me, on a very personal level, I've always felt very, out of the 6 Goswamis, I feel very, very connected with Sanatan Goswami. I really like his mood, especially in Vrindavan. So here is a very feeble attempt to explain a drop of a drop from the ocean of his glories. So Sanatan Goswami in the spiritual world, his form is Rati Manjari, and Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Now Manjari is their very close and immediate associates of Lalita and Vishaka. So the Manjaris help the gopis in very personal and intimate service of the divine couple. So this is the exalted divine position of Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. They came from the Gotra of Bharadwaj Muni. And Bharadwaj Muni, this Gotra, we come across it many times in Srimad Bhagavatam. They were from called Saraswat Brahmin family. The Saraswat Brahmins were of a very, very high caliber, born in Karnataka. Later on, the family had some land dispute. So Sanatan Goswami's one ancestral forefather moved from Karnataka to Bangladesh, and then later on they moved to Ramakeli. So their father's name was Kumar Dev, the eldest son was Sanatan, and then Rupa, and then Vallabh. So as early as when he was 5 years old, it was very evident that he was a very special soul. At 5 years old, he had a dream or rather vision that some sadhu came and gave him the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when he woke up in the morning, that sadhu did turn up at his door and gave him Srimad Bhagavatam, you know. Now, you have to understand this in context of about 500 years ago. Today, somebody receiving a set of Srimad Bhagavatam is special, but it's not a big deal because thousands and thousands of sets of Srimad Bhagavatam are in print. But in those days, books were rare. Maybe by then paper was available, but it was still very expensive and a very luxurious item. So my assumption, and it's an assumption, is that at that point still scriptures were being handwritten on dry leaves. And so this, if you understand that scriptures were not readily available, what to speak of somebody coming to your door and giving you Srimad Bhagavatam. It was very rare and very special. And Sanatan Goswami from that time, he just went deeper and deeper into studying Srimad Bhagavatam and relishing Srimad Bhagavatam. It became his very life and soul. His whole life revolved around studying Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And both brothers were highly qualified. They were Sanskrit scholars of an extremely high caliber. They had mastered Bengali and Persian. And they were so well behaved, their character, so cultured, you know, they just attracted the hearts of everyone. everyone, their personality was just so pleasing, very humble and very gentle. So Ramakeli was a sort of like a strong base for Nawab Hussain Shah, a Muslim ruler. And if you've been to Mayapur, you can see that a lot Bengal and Bangladesh areas are very flat. So Hussain Shah needed a tower to kind of like protect his kingdom and watch out for enemies. So he got his people to build this huge tower. And when he went to check the tower, he could understand that it was very intelligently designed. So he asked the servant who designed this tower. And first the servant was like, oh, it was me. And then Nawab Hussain Shah was like, no, this cannot be you. You're just not that intelligent. I want to know who designed this tower. So then he said that these two brothers, these two Hindu brothers, and then one of his advisors told Nawab Hussain Shah, if we can get these two boys to work under your government, you will be able to have so much more control over the Hindus. So Nawab Hussain Shah forced them. He didn't actually give them a choice. He forced them to take up the positions in his government, or else he threatened that he would kill them and his family. So they had no choice. They had to take up this position, although it was completely abominable that, Brahmins of such high caliber were in the Muslim government. And what was Nawab Hussain Shah going around trying to conquer Orissa, trying to conquer all these lands in India, and they had to support him. They were actually outcasted as Hindus. But Nawab Hussain Shah was so impressed by how efficient, how honest, how polite these two brothers were, that he made Sanatan the Prime Minister of Bengal, and he made Rupa Goswami the Home Minister. So, like Srinivas Acharya explains, Dhira Adhira Jana Priya in this wonderful bhajan, that they were so charming and kind to all, even demons would be attracted to embrace them like brothers. So although externally they were doing their duty because they had no choice, but internally they just felt deep separation from Krishna and Vrindavan, because from a very young age they had deeply studied the Srimad Bhagavatam. And because they were so good and so loyal at what they were doing, at their positions in the government, Nawab Hussain gave them a lot of wealth and built them literally palaces. So what they did is that they constructed Gupta Vrindavan, which is called Hidden Vrindavan, in their residences. They created a replica of Shyamakund, Radhakund, all the different pastime places of Vrindavan. And they would just be spending their time in this Gupta Vrindavan, just completely immersed in Krishna's pastimes and Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting. They also installed a very beautiful deity of Madan Mohan. They worshipped those deities with great love and devotion. So even in Ramakeli to this day, two places exist that they created two beautiful bathing places, and these two places still exist in Ramakeli. So they also facilitated hearing and speaking of Srimad Bhagavatam in such a way that even scholars and Vaishnavas would come from all over India to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and speak Srimad Bhagavatam. And also scholars came from all over India to hear the two brothers speak on Srimad Bhagavatam. They also built an auditorium where musicians and poets would come and perform spiritual plays, spiritual poems. They also built little cottages along the banks of the river Ganges so that pilgrims could come and they would be taken care of so nicely by these two brothers. Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami were extremely, extremely charitable. So whatever they got in terms of wealth or whatever got, they always distributed it. So although their position was so high in the government, they never harmed anybody, they never insulted anybody. So this is a perfect example of how we can use our position, our influence, our wealth, our skills in Krishna's service. Yukta Vairagya, everything we possess, everything we have, every knowledge we have can be used in the service of Krishna. And we can be of exemplary character. The spiritual master of Sanatan Goswami was Vidya Vachaspati, and he had immense respect and devotion to his spiritual master. So time went on and they were feeling great separation from Krishna and Vrindavan, and always lamenting their pitiful situation where they had to be servants to a Muslim government. So one time, Sanatan Goswami had a historical dream. This beautiful and effulgent renunciate appeared to him. And it was, of course, none other than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Sanatan Goswami immediately felt his heart overflow with pure, unalloyed love and devotion. And in the dream, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him that do not become too attached to this materialistic life. Do not become too attached, do not become too entangled. Go to Vrindavan and excavate the holy places. Write Vaishnava literature about the glories of this and write about devotional service. So in the morning, he woke up so overwhelmed with just love and tears flowing from his eyes. And he ran to Rupa Goswami and he told him about his dream. And now even more, their thirst and their desperation to go to Vrindavan increased like 1,000-fold, and they just couldn't wait for the day that they could totally surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So and so this tug of war between what was expected as their material duty and what they really wanted to do, it just kept growing and growing every day. And finally they spoke to their mother and they said, we don't know what to do. And the mother, such a wonderful Vaishnav, also told them, write a letter to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and see what he says. So they wrote a couple of letters to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu over a period of time. And I think the first 3 or so letters Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not reply. And finally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied with only 1 paragraph. And he gave the example that when a wife is attached to another man besides her husband, then she should perform her duties so diligently so that no one can have a suspicion that something is going on. But in her heart, she should exclusively meditate on her lover or her beloved, So that's all. That was his answer, So again, perfect example of us who are still on the level of duty, how we can lead our lives. Externally, we may have to do duty for a long period of time. And duty is good. Duty is good because it keeps us within certain boundaries. If we didn't have duty, we'd just be running around like headless chickens, doing nothing or doing everything wrong, So duty is good. It keeps us within some limits, within some boundaries. And it may go on for many years, and that's fine. You do your duty externally, but inside, you know, completely meditate, remember, think of Krishna. That's again in Srimad Bhagavatam, we're just hearing the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this reading is so powerful, because then all day long you're thinking about what you read, or you're thinking about the class you heard, or you're thinking about, oh, this is such a wonderful point, you know, the speaker made. And then you discuss that with your friend or with your family or your children. So that way, duty is there, duty is good. Even Krishna, Bhagavad Gita is all about duty, 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 duty. But then deep inside, we know what our real duty is. And inside, we can always keep our heart with Krishna. So, right. So then in the meantime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preparing to go to Vrindavan, and he takes a detour. He goes in a completely like different direction. Instead of going north, he goes west, you know. So, and there, wherever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going, there were thousands of people following him and dancing and singing. And so everybody was wondering what direction, why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu going in a very different direction? And they just couldn't understand. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, instead of going towards Vrindavan, ended up in Ramakeli. And the followers and disciples are really wondering, why is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramakeli? So he made this detour. Instead of going to Vrindavan, he took this detour only to meet Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Can you imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead making a whole big, instead of going back home to his beloved home, he's going to meet Rupa and Sanatan. How special these two brothers are. So, like I mentioned earlier, Ramakeli was like the capital of Nawab Hussain Shah, and he was very cruel and wicked. And he had made very stringent laws against anyone publicly practicing any other faith besides his faith. And then here is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thousands of his followers is dancing and singing loudly, and they're in Ramakeli, you know, and so Hussain Shah was actually very intrigued, and he asked his servant, "Who is this person?" And he asked the police, "Who is this person?" And they described Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The police described Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as, oh, this personality is very beautiful. He's very effulgent. His eyes are beautiful, lotus shaped. He's got a strong neck like a lion. His limbs are like an elephant with a very thin waist. His eyebrows are like the bows of Kandarpa. So he was just describing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it says, by his mere glance, he's intoxicating people with love of God. Just by his mere glance, he dances so beautifully, constantly crying. His limbs tremble, his hairs stand on end, and he shouts and sounds like thunder. And he's melting the hearts of all Hindus and Muslims alike. So the police goes, I think he's a great prophet who has come to your kingdom and has completely intoxicated all the people. And I think we're very fortunate to have him. So just by hearing the description of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Hussain Shah's heart melted. And just by hearing this description, he believed him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So his heart became so transcendently affected. And he proclaimed that this sannyasi is a great prophet and he should be allowed to sing and dance and preach as he likes without any disturbance. And that was a very, very big thing for, you know, a Muslim ruler to give this kind of permission and have his heart melt like this. So now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Ramakeli, as are the three brothers, and they're contemplating how to meet him. Because if they were to meet him in public, it would be very counterproductive because they didn't trust Nawab Hussain Shah at all. They knew actually how cruel and wicked he was. And also they didn't want to meet him with, this hundreds and thousands of people around him. So one day in the dead of night, with straw between their teeth, they went to Mahaprabhu and they fell down like rods before the Lord, in complete humility. They submitted very humble prayers and proclaimed themselves even to be more fallen than Jagai and Madhai. They said, okay, maybe Jagai and Madhai, they were addicted to some intoxication, but they never served fallen people. They did not serve meat eaters. This is what we are doing. We're serving a fallen government and we're serving meat eaters. We're actually more fallen than Jagai and Madhai. And they actually felt like that, they had such amazing humility. And so they, with great humility, they begged for mercy, for deliverance. And then Mahaprabhu said, my dear, the Birkas and Sakar Malik, which were the names the Hussain Shah had given them, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to them that you're actually my very, very old servants. And he said, your humility is breaking my heart. And Mahaprabhu explained to them that I had no business coming to Ramakeli, but I came to Ramakeli just to meet you too. And then he told them, no, you go home. There is no problem. Go home. And you're my servants. You've been my servants birth after birth. And then he gave them their names, Rupa and Sanatan and Anupam. So Vallabh, the third brother, was named Anupam. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told them, and I'm sure Krishna very soon will deliver you. So then at that point, they petitioned the Lord not to stay in Ramakeli. They said the Qazi was not of a stable character. He could change his mind anytime and he could become violent and he could become very dangerous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left the next day, and they also requested him that it's not a very good idea to go to Vrindavan with such a big following. They said Vrindavan is a simple place, you go there, it wouldn't be advisable to go with such a huge following. So the next day, he actually did start going with the followers to Vrindavan, and he reached a certain, he went a certain length, and then he actually realized that what Rupa and Sanatan was saying is true, that he should not go to Vrindavan with such a group, such a big following. So then he didn't go to Vrindavan. So it said it is the humility of Rupa and Sanatan that attracted the heart of the Lord to bestow on them complete causeless mercy. And then Radhanath Swami goes on to explain that humility is the only quality that actually attracts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, genuine humility. And to exemplify this principle, he advented himself as a devotee of the Lord, demonstrating unprecedented quality of humility as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I was watching a video of Srila Prabhupada, I think this week or last week, and Srila Prabhupada gives such a wonderful definition of what humility is. And he said humility is when we depend on Krishna for everything. When all our security and everything comes from Krishna, that is humility. That is real humility. Such a wonderful definition, you know, that when we depend, when we're 100% surrendered to Krishna, when we depend on Krishna 100% for everything, that is real humility. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when said that there is no possibility of happiness without humility. And in the material world, it's diametrically the opposite, you know. In the material world, we try and find happiness by competing, by trying to become better than our colleague at work, by trying to, you know, the modern education is all about competition, is all about being the best. That's what the modern education, the foundation of modern education is to be the best. You know, I'm better than my colleague. I have a better car than my neighbor. I have a better house than my family. You know, so in the material world, it's the opposite of humility. It's competition. It's self-centeredness. It's selfishness. So hence in the material world, what we think are the sources of our happiness become our source of fear, anxiety, and suffering. Because it's all based on competition. It's all based on selfishness. Okay, so after some time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally bestowed his mercy, and both the brothers decided to resign from their posts. So at that point, Rupa Goswami and Anupam, they left with their wealth and loaded it in boats and went to their ancestral home in Fatehpur. That is in Karnataka. And then Srila Prabhupada says, it is exemplary how they divided their wealth. And ideally, this is how devotees should divide their wealth also. So 50% of their wealth they distributed to qualified and pure devotees. 25% of the wealth they gave to family members. And 25% of the wealth they kept for emergency. So they found out that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left for Vrindavan, and Rupa and Anupam immediately left for Vrindavan as well. Now, Sanatan Goswami, being the prime minister of Bengal, he couldn't just up and leave, so he decided to stay on for a bit longer. But then by then he was just completely. He totally lost all interest in his government position, and he stopped going. He stopped going to his office and showing up for work, and he just stayed at home, and he just got brahmanas to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Qazi was, you know, he kept telling the Qazi that he's not well. And then one day Qazi just sent one of his physicians, just go and see what is wrong with Sanatan Goswami, or the Birkas. Why is he not coming to work? And when the physician got there, he saw that Sanatan Goswami was sitting there and studying Srimad Bhagavatam with the Brahmanas, and the Qazi got really, really upset. And he was like, you come back with me, and you come back with me to Orissa, and I want to fight and win Orissa. And Sanatan Goswami said, I'm not going to do that. You can do whatever you want to do. You're a representative of God. You can do whatever you want to do, but I'm not coming back to work, or I'm not supporting your mission. And so the Qazi detained him. So Rupa heard about this, and Rupa sent a message and 10,000 gold coins. And Rupa Goswami told him, somehow just free yourself and come to Vrindavan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is on his way to Vrindavan. So Sanatan Goswami, you know, being a politician, he very diplomatically spoke to the police, the guard who was looking after him in when he was in captive, and he tried to convince him, like, please just let me go, I'll give you 5,000 coins. And the guard was like, that's fine, 5,000 coins, but what am I going to tell the Qazi? And when he finds out, he's going to kill me. So Sanatan Goswami told him, just tell him I went in the morning, you took me to do, my morning, clear my system and everything. And I just jumped in the Ganges with all the chains and everything, and I drowned, and you didn't find my body. And he convinced him, he, offered him another extra 2,000 gold coins, a total of 7,000 gold coins. And, the guy, it was too good an offer for him to put down. So he let him go, and he traveled with one servant called Ishan. So he was traveling from Ramakeli to Varanasi. So that area was very dangerous. And it was a very hilly tract of land. It was actually infamous for thieves and rogues. And the area was actually very difficult to go through. So he didn't, Sanatan Goswami did not know that Ishan had hidden 8 gold coins with him. And they were walking in the forest. It was getting very late at night, and very quite a dangerous area to be in. And there was an inn. So they went in, and the owner of the inn, he was the head of a gang, and an astrologer told him these two people who are coming, they look like saints, but they actually have 8 gold coins with them. So the owner of the inn was very extremely overly hospitable, was, really looking after them really well. And Sanatan Goswami, being Sanatan Goswami, was like, okay, too much devotion is a sign of a thief. So he figured out that there was something he wanted from them. And he asked Ishan, did you carry any gold coins? And Ishan said, yes. Ishan said, yes, I carried 7 gold coins. And he said, okay, give them to me. And, he just went and he straight away gave it to the owner of the inn. And then he said, oh, I was actually going to kill you tonight, but since you've given me, he actually became a bit humble, and he said, no, it's okay, you can take them back. And Sanatan Goswami said, if you don't take them, somebody else is going to kill me for them. So please take them, but just help me get through this difficult hilly tract of land. And he said, yes. So as they were, the next morning, as they were leaving, again, Sanatan Goswami asked, Ishan, do you have any more gold coins? And Ishan said, yes, I have one. And he said, okay, you keep that and you go back to your home. So then he reaches a place called Hajpur, and he meets his brother-in-law there. And his brother-in-law had organized, horses and everything to take Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan. And Sanatan Goswami said, no, I don't want any of this. His brother-in-law said, please come and stay with us for a few nights, then you can go. And he said, I'm not staying with you even for a moment. I'm going to Vrindavan. I don't need anything. I'm going to Vrindavan. Anyway, the brother-in-law convinced him to just keep one nice shawl to keep him warm. And Sanatan Goswami agreed. Finally, Sanatan Goswami reached Varanasi, and there he learned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already been to Vrindavan, and he was in Varanasi as well. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was staying at Chandrasekhar Prabhu's house, and Sanatan Goswami, out of his humility, just sort of like sat outside Chandrasekhar Prabhu's house. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew in his heart that Sanatan Goswami was outside. So he sent Chandrasekhar Prabhu and said, there is a very saintly person just outside your house. Please bring him in. So when he went out, he just saw a rough-looking Muslim mendicant. And he went in and he told Mahaprabhu, there's nobody outside. There was just like a Muslim mendicant sitting outside. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, yes, he is the one. Bring him in immediately. And Sanatan Goswami was all, he hadn't showered for many days. He was in very ragged clothes. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately embraced him. Sanatan Goswami fell at his feet and he said, please do not embrace me. I'm filthy, I'm dirty, I'm utterly fallen, I'm sinful, and I'm so contaminated. Please, please don't. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that I'm touching you for my purification, And then with his own hands, he cleaned Sanatan Goswami's body. How wonderful is this exchange between the Lord and his pure devotees, this is just so unbelievable. And then anyway, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sanatan Goswami to go and get his head shaved and his beard shaved and everything. And then Srila Prabhupada in that part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comments that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not like people looking like hippies. And to think that he was preaching to hippies at that point, and just like, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't like people looking like hippies. So I'll stop here. This is how much I managed to prepare, and then next week I'll prepare and I'll finish. How can you finish? But whatever is written in the book, I'll be able to summarize. So I'll stop here. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful Sanatan and Rupa Goswami. Like I said, we have such wonderful personalities, in our lineage, in our heritage, and it's just so wonderful taking time out and reading about them. Honestly, the past couple of days have just been just reading for me has just been, I feel so elevated and feel just so much happiness in your heart just reading about these personalities. We're just so fortunate. We're so fortunate. Otherwise, who would be like what? Running after who? Priyanka Chopra? This is the people we'd be looking up to. Oh, what was she wearing at the Ambani wedding? This is kind of like the depths of what our life would have been like. So yeah, we're just so extremely fortunate, so extremely fortunate. So I'll stop here. Any questions, any comments? Anybody would like to add anything? Please feel welcome.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for immersing us in this various pastimes of Sanatan Goswami. And yes, I feel that we are very fortunate. And then at the same time, I feel that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's sanction. So definitely he has sanctioned this for us. So for people who are still skeptics and who probably can't see Krishna like me, I can't see Krishna, but I think in these small ways, we can probably see him, see his mercy at least, and say that why me? I mean, why am I getting connected to this philosophy, and why am I listening to these pastimes of Sanatan and Rupa Goswami? I think Krishna is very merciful to all of us, and especially to this group. So thank you very much for immersing us in this session today. Mataji, I have a few questions, and it is only because I wasn't listening properly, probably, and my pen was not working. Who was Sanatan Goswami? You said some name of a Manjari, Sanatan and Rupa Goswami.
Rati Manjari.
Sorry?
So Sanatan Goswami is Rati Manjari.
Rati
Rati.
Manjari. Rati.
Yeah. Yes. And Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari.
Rupa. Okay, and then so when we see heroes, so especially I feel I grew up on the cricket culture around me, and then so I see Virat Kohli and various people. Now I don't know their names. These are young people now, but I think what at least I derive from them these days is their dedication to the sport or to the game or to any field. And then I said they are much better than I am, because if we are dedicated to this philosophy, I'm not putting in those many hours as he is putting into his practice. So he is even foregoing his sleep. And well, I love my sleep, and I'm not ready to get up half an hour early, even half an hour, 15 minutes earlier than when I'm supposed to get up to do my chanting or to do any other service. So I think, yeah, I mean, Priyanka Chopra and her clothes might be a little gross, but I still derive inspiration from all these people, especially the athletes, and they commit to their goals. And if we are committed in a similar fashion, I think we would have reached our, and Krishna is so merciful. He is just pushing us. So, but we just have to move. And we would have really achieved him if we had their dedication. Then, Mataji, I wanted to ask, since most of us don't live in India, where is Ramakali?
Ramakali is in Bengal.
In Bengal. Okay.
I'll cross-check that.
Okay.
As far as I can remember, Ramakali is in Bengal.
And then they spoke Persian. It's because of the Nawab that time who spoke
Yeah, I
Persian.
think because of the Muslim influence.
And then what is the significance of putting a straw in your mouth? I mean, how does that make you humble?
I've been thinking about it. I don't know, but it is definitely a sign of humility that I'm lower than the straw in the street. You know, like so low that yeah, I think I also it's something I want to look into also. I don't know if anybody else can comment, but it's just it symbolizes that this extreme humility that I'm so low, I'm so fallen. Yes. But it was something I was even thinking that I want to look into this, like why, you know? But on that one level also it does make sense that you're just like you're feeling yourself so genuinely low that you're just like I don't know, let me look into it and I'll come back to you next week.
Okay, thank you very much, Mataji. And the last question is about dividing your wealth. So 50% to the devotees or to the mission, I understand. 25% to the family members, I understand. But I thought if you were fully surrendered, then why do you keep that 25 for emergencies? Or is it for yourself?
Yeah, so for example, like like Sanatan Goswami was detained just to get him out, you know, immediately Rupa Goswami could send 10,000 gold coins because he had kept aside that 25%. And later on, we will hear when they went to Vrindavan, even that 25%, they were just using it in Krishna's service.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those clarifications.
You know, and the celebrities and absolutely. In Krishna consciousness, we can actually get inspiration from any place. Oh my God, they're just so dedicated. Like you say, you know, they sacrifice their sleep, they sacrifice so many things to achieve what they achieve. And at the same time, so yeah, inspiration we can get from anywhere. At the same time, we have to understand that the path of Krishna consciousness is also very different. Because like you said, even giving up half an hour of sleep is sometimes difficult. And funny enough, my son and I, we were just having this discussion, and what was I talking? And I said that, okay, yeah, okay, I remember. I said, so a sannyasi mentioned that most of the devotees in ISKCON are on the level of karma yoga, where we're working, and then we give the fruits of our actions to Krishna. That's karma yoga. And I was telling my son, it is that for myself and him, at least, we have one foot in the material world and we have one foot in the spiritual world. And we kind of like always, when you have one foot here, you lose balance, the balance will tilt one way or another. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle. Like getting up earlier, becoming that dedicated and committed to reading Srimad Bhagavatam, getting taste for chanting. It's a struggle. And I said, recently, if you hear Keshav Maharaj's classes, he has been emphasizing so much how close we are to the goal and to stay on track. So my conclusion in my conversation with my son is that these lifetimes we will struggle, maybe another 2 lifetimes, maybe another 20 lifetimes, but we will come to a stage of anartha nivritti, where all these unwanted things in the heart, laziness, blah, 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 will be eradicated. And after that, Krishna consciousness becomes very joyful. So the point being that, yes, there's people, I mean, even actors and actresses, they have to work really hard. We see the glam and we see this, but there's a lot of hard work. But at the same time, for devotees, our path is also a bit different, and we do really struggle. I think on the path, there's a certain number of lifetimes where we will really struggle when we're going through anartha nivritti. But once we transcend, when we have the next stage after anartha nivritti, I'm sorry, I don't remember, but I know it just gets really easy. Then we really start getting the taste in chanting and reading, and then these are the devotees who are getting up at 2:30, who before Mangal Arti have chanted the 16 rounds. It's so, and the point is that we will get there. We just stick to the process. We stay on the path and we will get there by Krishna's mercy and the mercy of, Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, and the devotees around us. So there's just a slight difference, but we will get there. We will be able to, forget waking up to we'll be able to stay up all night just chanting. It will happen.
Yeah, looking forward to those days.
Yeah, so am I.
Panchali Mataji has a question. Hare Krishna Mataji, kindly unmute and
So Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. I do apologize because of work. I joined late. No, it's just a comment, Mataji. I don't know if there's time, but I'll be very quick. Just your last point around endeavoring, and it could be one lifetime too, or some lifetimes before we reach perfection. That just reminds me of that pastime, and you will have heard about it. So with your permission, can I share the pastime? So it's about the 2 devotees who were chanting and remembering and praying and performing devotion towards Krishna under 2 trees, nearby trees. And Narad Muni was passing by on his way to see Narayan. And so as Narad Muni was passing, these 2 devotees, they got very excited. They said, we've been praying for such a long time. Please, since you're going to see the Lord, please ask him, when can we get the Lord? When can he give his darshan to us? So Narad Muni said, fine. And then he went and he asked the Lord, and he got the answer. And the Lord said, just tell one of them, this person, that, you know, they're both sitting under the trees. Tell one of them that as many leaves there are on the trees, I will come after, when all the leaves fall off. I will come as many days it takes. I will come and I'll give him my darshan. To the other devotee, go and tell him that as many leaves there are on the trees, that many kalpas before I can give him darshan. Okay. So then Narad Muni, on his way back, he met two of them again. Both of them very, very eagerly asked him, what did the Lord say? So to the person, one person, Narad Muni said, oh, you've only got, you know, as many leaves as there are on the trees. So when they fall off, by the time they fall off, that many years, that many days, months or years, after that, the Lord will come and give you darshan. And then he went away thinking, gosh, I've been praying for such a long time. I've just been praying for such a long time. And it will, again, this is such a big tree. It'll take ages for all the leaves to fall off. Again, that many days I have to continue. And he was a bit, you know, disgruntled. So he, but anyway, you know, he was a devotee and he went up. And then so he went up and started praying again, but in his mind he was a bit disgruntled. To the other person, Narad Muni went and said that as many trees, as many leaves as there are, that many kalpas you will have to wait before the Lord will give you darshan. And that person just started jumping, did a eureka jump, and then started jumping and dancing and singing, oh, the Lord will give me darshan. So Narad Muni was very, very surprised, you know, seeing the two different reactions. So he said, you know, why is it you're jumping into, you know, dancing? And he said, oh, but it's that the Lord never lies. The Lord never cheats his devotees. The Lord can cheat a non-devotee, like Krishna cheated Duryodhana, you know, when he was fighting Bhima. So a Lord can cheat a non-devotee or an adharmic person, but a Lord never cheats a devotee. And the Lord has given me the assurance that he's going to give me darshan. I don't care. I don't care, but I know he's going to come and see me. And as soon as he said that, the Lord came in front of him. So immediately the Lord gave him darshan. So it's the bhav, it's how much we want to see the Lord. If we have that endeavor, or if we have that bhav that I want to, as Prabhupada said, it takes a minute. You call out Krishna with that bhava, Krishna will come to you right now.
Yeah.
And so that devotee got the darshan right away. So it reminded me, so it's such a lovely pastime. It reminded me of what you were talking about right now, about, you know, when to get that perfection. So it can change any minute. It depends on the personal devotee's endeavor and wanting to see Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you,
Wow.
Mataji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Such a sweet pastime. Yeah. And however, you know, however many lifetimes it takes, it's like Krishna blinking, and you know, we came to the material world, Krishna blinked, and we'll be there with him in the spiritual world. Because if you consider eternity and whatever period of time we spend here, in comparison to eternity, it's just blinking of the eye, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but still, yes, the sooner the better. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much. Very sweet pastime.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for sharing that pastime. I think we've exhausted our time. Can I request Bhakta Mugo to kindly end the session for today, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you very much, Your Grace, Ashwariya Mataji, for that beautiful class on Sanatan Dharma, and also the opportunity to end. But before I end, I was just wondering who Sanatan Goswami was taught the Srimad Bhagavatam. How did he realize that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Krishna? But maybe is it through his through his knowledge?
Oh,
Well.
remember I mentioned that he had a dream, and then also
Yeah.
word was going around, news was spreading about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this was Ramakeli is in Bengal, and at that point Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also was doing a lot of his pastimes in Navadvip. So yeah, it was this word spreading about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the dream that Sanatan Goswami had.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. So I'd like to ask the devotees that are associated here to kindly unmute, and we do one round of mantra in glorification of Her Grace Ashwariya Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Her Grace Ashwariya Lila Mataji ki jai. Sanatan Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.